everybody. How you doing? It's John Brewer here, South Florida's restaurant guy. And boy, I read an interesting article. 892,000 people have dropped out of the hospitality industry. And I'm not talking about taking a leave of absence. They quit. They just quit. So this whole pandemic has really taken a toll on the hospitality industry in general. And there's a mass exodus. There is a major shift going on when it comes to restaurants and how people want to serve, and if people want to do the serving, and people in kitchens, and it is moving into a crisis mode, I fear. What I fear most about this, I think, is that small businesses will be affected. You know, I think eventually what you will see is, well, you know what, let's hold off on that right now. Let's get into this article I read from Restaurant Dive. It came out October 13th. And basically, the title of the article is the Bureau of Labor Statistics says hospitality worker quit rate is more than double the national average. So hospitality workers quit their jobs at a rate of 6.8%, or more than double the record national average quit rate of 2.9%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And like I said, more than 890,000 hospitality workers quit in the month of August. The labor crisis has been particularly hard on full-service restaurants. Per BLS data cited by Moody's, this segment employs nearly 500,000 fewer workers than it did in February of 2020. According to Black Box Intelligence, full-service concepts are working with 6.2 fewer employees in the kitchen than they were in 2019, and 2.8 fewer front-of-house employees. Now, I want to talk about this for a second because this brings up a very important concept that I think lends itself to where we are right now. There's a lot of moving pieces here. February 2020 is the day that COVID really kicked in. And I know a lot of restaurant folks and a lot of restaurant people that were basically told when they walked in for, it was March around here in Florida. I remember it was St. Patty's Day when we first started hearing about the COVID and the Wuhan flu and what was going on. But basically, St. Patty's Day was the first major holiday that was called off, and that's a big holiday here in Delray Beach. And soon thereafter, most restaurant employees were just told to stop showing up. I know a lot of restaurants where folks were just told, hey, guess what? You don't have a job anymore. So that's like being a jilted lover, in my opinion, you know, not having a job and having your job just basically ripped out from underneath you. I had a friend in Los Angeles who owns a restaurant and had to do exactly that. He just walked in one day and told his 20+ staff that I don't have a job for you anymore. So that can leave you kind of scorned and kind of like, wow, I can't rely on this job like I used to. But let's get into it a little more. Despite this historic labor crisis, sales growth at many restaurant chains remain high, with some companies matching or surpassing 2019's levels. However, the sales figure may stem from the higher pricing to offset wages and inflation, a solution that Moody's warns could soon anger customers. So this kind of explains where the restaurant owners are at. They are paying 30, 40, 50% more for items. Vegetable oil, I know, is very expensive. Meats have gone up, ribs have gone up, steak has gone up. Every single item pretty much on a menu has gone up. And as they raise these prices to compensate for the higher wages that they need to pay and the margins that they need to make, as everybody knows, restaurants are notoriously small margins, have notoriously small margins. And it's not just restaurants. We're talking about hotels here. These are also included in hospitality. So once consumers begin to balk at the higher prices, losing patience with longer waits, or not having their favorite menu item, inflation will exert pressure on restaurant margins. You're already seeing this, the higher prices. What's happening now is a lot of people are not dining out as much, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, which that's where your money position's at for a lot of restaurant employees. I bus tables. I started off in the kitchen. Basically, I started off bussing tables, and then I went in the back of the kitchen because my stepfather was a chef and I wanted to be back there. Boy, was that a mistake, because soon thereafter I wanted to become a bartender. As soon as I turned 21, I became a bartender, and I never looked back. I was a front of the house guy after that. So as we are eliminating these waiter server positions, basically the majority of the people that are working at restaurants are going to be back of house cooks, chefs, dishwashers, food runners. And these are the folks that are basically looking for greener pastures. These are not tipped employees. So that explains a lot, I think. So many of the restaurant chains that are reporting sales gains are also in the quick service segment. As I said, this category's employment gap is smaller than the gap in the full service segment, putting less stress on fast food restaurants. But QSR, which stands for quick service restaurants, are far from untouched by labor issues, with many limiting business hours or closing dining rooms because they don't have enough employees to cover the shifts. And you're seeing that a lot in here in South Florida, restaurants simply closing down or eliminating certain, or not doing breakfast anymore, or not doing dinner anymore. Restaurant suppliers are also experiencing labor challenges, which has kicked off a domino effect in the industry, causing product shortages and higher food prices. This is putting more pressure on restaurants' bottom lines, and forecasts of a continued hospitality employee exodus could tighten the squeeze on restaurants. A new survey, this is fascinating, a new survey from Joblist and reported by Restaurant Business, for example, has found that 58% of hospitality workers plan to leave their jobs by the end of the year. Several restaurant chains have responded to the shrinking labor pool by hiking employee pay and offering hiring incentives like free iPhones and hiring bonuses. This summer marks some of the fastest wage growth in the segment since the early 1980s, and average pay surpassed $15 an hour for the first time in May. Now that's great for workers. We're happy for them. Free iPhones, hiring bonuses. What this is also going to do is squeeze some of the smaller single restaurant mom and pop businesses. And let me explain this, please, to you. I understand it's great that employees are making more money. If I have one restaurant, I only have so much funds I can pull away from that restaurant or put into that restaurant before it's negative. If I have 4 restaurants, now I've got 3 other restaurants. If I need to put employees over here, I can kind of disperse my losses. So if one restaurant is running in the red, it's not going to be the end of my life as long as I've got 3 other restaurants running in the black. If I have 400 restaurants and 50 of them are running in the red, I'm still fine. I've got 350 that are running in the black, and they are making up for it. Do you see what I'm saying here? What's happening is this whole situation is lending itself more to the bigger corporations. A bigger corporation can order 1,000 iPhones and write it off as a tax, and put it on as a tax write-off, hand it out to their employees or hand it out to their franchisees or hand it out to their corporate restaurants so that they can go ahead and put themselves heads and tails above the small mom and pop. Also hiring bonuses, handing somebody $100 or 150, 200 bucks so that they come work for me as opposed to the mom and pop restaurant down the road is only going to be a small price for me to pay, whereas for a mom and pop restaurant, it's going to be a large price. So through the restaurant, though the restaurant industry has historically had high turnover rates, many employees are leaving now because of harassment they face from diners for enforcing COVID-19 mandates, as well as concern over contracting the virus at work. I've had enough of this crap because it really seems to be out there a lot. It's, these servers can't do right by anybody, because I could have one table that's telling me, hey man, your mask is down, it's past your nose, you're not wearing gloves, I didn't see you wipe your hands off after you dropped that off. And that's one side of the paranoia. And then the other side of the paranoia is, hey, take your mask off. I don't want you to have your mask on. We're not wearing masks. We don't think this is really a problem. So the server is the one that's stuck in the middle. The bartender is the one that's stuck in the middle. You've got one side that wants to rat you out, is not paying attention to any of the rules. And you got another side that basically wants you not to pay attention to any of the rules. And either way, you lose. So servers are just throwing in the towel, bartenders throwing in the towel and basically saying, screw this, I'm going to go sell real estate. Or, I'm going to go work somewhere else. Maybe I'll take that job driving a driving a Amazon truck. Why not? Why not? I get better benefits. Maybe I don't make as much money. But then again, we're using less servers. We're using less bartenders as the business kind of shifts right now. Like I said, the pressure of menu items and prices is driving people that would normally dine out. Not only do you have a crowd that's not dining out as often, now you have a crowd that would like to dine out, but maybe is not dining out as often because they can't afford it. And then you have, this is the old saying, everything rolls downhill. So this is what's happening to our business. And there's so many moving parts going on. You have the gig economy that's making an impact on employees right now. You have unemployment benefits, which I believe it's state to state right now. We know a lot of states are not offering as much. We here in Florida, that's not really a reasoning. We have Amazonification. We have so many driving trucks. It used to be I had one USPS guy and one UPS guy that drove around town, and we knew who our guys are. There must be at least 10 different people I recognize from doing deliveries in this neighborhood right now. We've got Amazon, we've got UPS, we've got USPS. All these people have to come from some industry, and it looks like a lot of them may be coming from the restaurant industry. So while Moody's still expects that industry conditions will improve over the next 12 months as customers and consumers continue to dine out and as government restrictions are eliminated, health and safety concerns are rising again as the Delta variant of the coronavirus spreads. This, along with the current labor shortage, supply chain issues, and inflation pressures, is putting an added level of risk to Moody's earnings forecast for the restaurant industries, Moody's states in its report. So I think what we can glean from this is basically restaurants that don't have servers, don't have bartenders, don't have tipped employees for the most part, are going to be in a good position going forward. Restaurants that do rely on dine-in as the majority of their business need to be careful going forward. And I hope they are also doing a to-go business, curbside, and any of those other facets that could impact. We'll keep an eye on this for you guys. I'd love to hear your comments down below, anything you've got to say about this. I find it really fascinating because I really don't think there's one specific thing that's going on. I think it's kind of a confluence of different items. I mean, just like this article said, current labor shortage, supply chain issues, which are, I talked to a number of suppliers and they are saying this is crazy what's going on right now. You've got the inflation that's going on with the Fed printing money, Fed money printing machine go burr like crazy. Got a lot of issues going on right now. Folks just being apprehensive about dining out, folks being apprehensive about going into hotels. And one thing we didn't even touch on, and I'll leave it there, is business seminars, basically businesses and retreats and business events going on in hotels have come to still a standstill. And that is a huge amount of money that was going into restaurants, going into hotels, going into businesses that surround these hotels. If you're in Las Vegas, that was a big part of the incomes there as a server, was all the business events that would come into town. Anyway, my name's John Brew. I'd love to hear your comments down below. I work with restaurants. I find restaurant space. I also get restaurants out of their spaces. If you're looking to lease, if you're looking to get out of your lease, if you're looking to form or create another restaurant, please give me a call. My number is right here. And that's it, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Take care now. Really appreciate you. God bless. Hey, my name's John Brewer, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please smash the subscribe button and see some of the other videos I have. I hope you enjoy them. I love your comments, and take care now. Appreciate it.